Ashwin Kumar is a technical test lead at Infosys. His involvement in Rotary depicts his social inclination, and today he is here with us as a representative of Rotary Bangalore Abilities, an organization geared towards empowering people with disabilities socially and resourcefully. He was involved in the organization of the NASCOM Global Inclusion Summit 2022. Their themes this year were leadership alignment and evolving workplace, mainstream inclusion enabled by tech, and the future of inclusion. We're so glad to have Mr. Ashwin today with us.
Hope everyone in this room are aware of digital accessibility. I'm not going to touch upon the essentials of digital accessibility. Well, you can see a GAAD logo and some of the pictures of commonly used assistive technologies scattered on the screen, and the main heading Digital Accessibility, where the letter Y in the word accessibility has been replaced with the letter E in big and bold letters. And the subtitle says Build Empathy, Act with Compassion. Let's connect the dots. The advent of assistive technologies like screen readers, screen magnifiers, and refreshable braille devices have made a huge impact on the lives of people with disabilities in terms of employability and independence. Having said this, ongoing workshops, training programs, and awareness programs are also equally important to educate, evangelize, and empathize those who are crafting digital solutions. There are stipulated guidelines and laws which can qualify something as accessible or inaccessible. But until and unless we understand how people with disabilities use technology, it's hard to know how accessibility issues occur. Empathy is being able to understand what another person is feeling in a given situation. So, building empathy will help us to learn to act with compassion. Let's quickly look at this demo. This is a very simple mirror tracing game. So, what I'm doing is I'm using this beautiful application to play this game on a computer screen. So, I'm going to pick this shape, for example, square. So what I need to do is I just have to trace this shape in between these two lines. It's a very straightforward and easy task, right? Here we go. This is pretty easy. Oh, it's going a little off. I know it's very difficult to draw a shape with the mouse, but I'm trying to do my best. Here we go. So now I'm going to repeat the same task as if I'm looking at a mirror aside. So this application gives a simulation, of drawing this object by looking at a mirror. So when I move the mouse pointer to the left, actually I'll be drawing to the right. So I'll start here. Now I'll move the mouse pointer to the left to draw to the right and vice versa. This is not easy. This is not at all easy. Oh my god, I have no clue about what I'm doing. It's going totally off. It's totally off. Nobody can say it is a square. Yeah, here's my beautiful square. So here I'm at the ending point. Okay, so I took about 39 seconds to draw the first one, but I took more than double the time to draw the same object by looking at the mirror. Why is this so? Why did I take more time and though it was not at all a proper square? So probably I would have taken 10 times more time than the first one if I had to draw a perfect square. Why is this? The reason is I'm seeing something, but my mind is saying something. And hence, I had to relearn my motor skills at every move. Because of that, I took more time to complete the task. Simple as that. Well, it was a fun game for me, maybe for anybody else. But people with aphasia, autism, and cognitive load have to live with this. Especially, they'll take more time to complete a task when the user interface is not intuitive. Also, people with blindness and low vision who are using screen readers tend to take more time to complete a task. Look at this small example of a registration form. It's a very simple form with very simple form fields, but it has a time constraint. The user has to complete the registration form in a given time. Yes, this is a business purpose, right? And it has been developed like that. But at the same time, it is also bringing some accessibility challenges, which we just saw, right? So, normally, when people with autism and aphasia or any such disorders tend to take more time to complete a task, so in these cases, obviously, they cannot complete the task at all, right? So, this is a serious accessibility problem. The stipulated web content accessibility guideline 2.2.1 timing adjustable addresses the problems of the people with disabilities when dealing with web content that has time constraints. So, as per the guideline, the recommendation to solve this problem is either to provide an option for the user to turn off the time limit, or the user should be able to extend the time limit by at least 10 times, or there should be a mechanism where the user can be alerted 20 seconds prior to extend the time limit. So, this way, the business purpose is also served and the accessibility challenge is also resolved, right? Solution is very simple. Building empathy can give this can give even more easier solutions. So, build empathy, learn to act with compassion, because accessibility is the right thing to do, is the smart thing to do, and it's the legal thing to do. Thank you so much for watching this video.
Dr. Dhruv Shankar Dutta is a remarkable academician. With a PhD in management at the Department of Management Studies, Pondicherry University, he has worked with IIM Ranchi and IIFT New Delhi as a post-PhD research associate. His accolades speak of his proficiency. He was the three-time UGC JRF NET awardee in management science and also one of the National Fellowship awardees for the Rajiv Gandhi National Fellowship for Disability in 2012. During his PhD, he published many research articles with different publishers, from Sage, Emerald, Bloomsbury, which are all known to be very reputed. He has presented his works on several national and international stages. He also made time to learn analytical software during the period. Dr. Dhruv co-founded the Non-Conventional Energy Research Association, also called the NCERO. Presenting to you, Dr. Dhruv Shankar Datta.
Hi, this is Dr. Dhruv Shankar Dutta. I am PhD. I would like to thank Mrs. Anuradha Biswas, co-founder and CEO, Prakat Solutions, and Mr. Avik Biswas, co-founder and Chief Technology Officer, Prakat Solutions, along with all the team members of Prakat Solutions in communication and extended help for allowing me to share some words on the 11th Global Accessibility Awareness Day, GAAD 2022. It is an honor for me to share my thoughts with you on this day. Also, I thank and congratulate all the known and unknown efforts for those who made my today's world better than yesterday's world. That is for people with special needs. Let me share my story. I belong to Indian state Bihar. I have done my PhD in management at Department of Management Studies, Pondicherry. Before that, I had completed my MBA in HR and system from the same university and same department. I got admission after clearing the CAT examination, that is common in admission test. It's a national level examination. During my PhD, I cleared the 3 times net UGC JRF also in management course. And I worked after completion of my PhD. I worked for Indian Institute of Management and Indian Institute of Foreign Trade, New Delhi, as a research associate. I had done my faculty development program from Indian Institute of Management Indore in 2021. I am still thinking of doing my postdoctoral fellowship because of my quest for knowledge seeking. During my PhD, I published nearly 8 research papers, 5 chapters in edited book volume, 2 case studies, and gave nearly 23 paper presentations at several national and international conferences and seminars. I am sharing this because getting such opportunity was not always possible for me. I am having some different biliary disorder, which is related to with my bone. This is like a fragile, in general we call it as a fragile bone disorder. In medical term, it is osteogenesis imperfecta with low grade. Low grade. And because of all these reasons, I had to go for the homeschooling and completed my education in correspondence mode up to the graduation level. That is BSc in chemistry at ICNU. Because of this reason, I had to do my PG also, MSc in chemistry itself. At that time, I was having a severe accident. I could not move anywhere. So once I get recovered, I got admission in DMS, which was 3,000 kilometers away from my hometown. And it was the first time I was staying out of my comfortable place. That is my hometown. Coming to the Pondicherry, it was all about a new life experience. I learned there a lot of things from the prospect of human psychology, to the importance of communication and use of various technological tools. There and later in life, I realized that technology is having ample effect on human life. Because I experienced this, I am able to say like that. I was getting a free Wi-Fi in the campus. Because of that, my learning became very easy. I was able to do lots of things by just sitting in the room and my department. I need not to go always in the library, so it was a very big help in my knowledge seeking quests. So as you know that from since 2007 7 to now, 7 and before, the reach of technology was very limited. Now it's like nearly more than 10 times. The penetration of internet in India is available. So so that the related technologies, internet related technology like applications and other online websites, they made my life very easy. From the financial freedom and knowledge for learning, enhancement to the financial freedom, everything become like available for up to my fingertips. So I was giving like more importance to the technology and in academic also. So I learned a lot of statistical tools for my research work and my project work. I nearly like 10 softwares I learned. I got a good upper hand on handling those softwares. I'm telling all these things based on my diverse experience from different background, that is from academic to the professional life, and that is from introduction of LPG. LPG means not the gas here, but the liberalization, privatization, and globalization in India, and that era. So, and now we are in the age of social media and the mobile technology related world. So technology has shaped our life a lot. I I can remember that when I was in graduation, I was hardly getting any help in my studies because the accessibility was very restricted. So, but now the situation is completely different. The discussion on technology remain incomplete without mentioning some drawback also. So here I want to mention them. The use of many applications on internet were in that time were also giving fear of possibility. Now in fact that fear of possibility to get compromised and spammed. This is still more in today's world. So like clear possibility getting spam. The infrastructure and quality were at that time not that much stable. Still also having sometime when we are using the internet connection, we are getting the disturbance. So it is like affecting our accessibility and communication ability to which world. Wi-Fi technologies are also helping in getting affected with these things. Like I would like to say that my university having the well library accessibility and the Wi-Fi connection, you can open the door with your iCard. If there is a connection problem, it is like a little bit difficulties over there. So, but now it's not that much, but it can happen. So I'm thinking that if the technology will keep growing in such a pace, then what will be the future tomorrow, especially for the people like us. So we will get more kind of our dependence on the adults will be very much limited. We need, I'm not saying that we don't need the people's support, but our own independence will increase threefold, like exponentially. So like if the AI technology will come, the embedded technologies related to the quantum whatsoever, then just think what will be the future tomorrow. So I can say that even having these challenges, we have progressed a lot. And this is from my own experience, and where it was not possible for me when there was no technology, much more penetration of technology, without the support of my family, my friend, and my other persons in my life. So I'm now I am thinking that we should, as being a person with disability, we should add technology as an important component in our life to make a progress, and to make the progress in any field and to make one's life better and respectable. Because if we will not recognize things, we cannot respect the things. So this is my small observations and my words for you. All the best on this GAAD 2022, and thank you so much.
Asha Sreedhar is a quality associate at SAP Labs through Enable India's Autism at Work program. She has worked with the organization for 7 years now. With an enriched background in healthcare technology, Asha joins us today representing Rotary Bangalore Abilities, an organization geared towards empowering people with disabilities socially and resourcefully. I am also part of ECA Educational and Charitable Services. With many blogs about autism and other different topics to her name, she received 2 awards, Rotary Vocational Diversity Unsung Heroine Award and Karnataka Women's Achievement Award for Outstanding Influencer. She has also hosted the Autism Summit event with SAP Labs India Private Limited and India Inclusion Summit. Asha has given speeches and participated in many panel discussions at many organizations and companies. She will speak to us as a part of a panel where we discuss the possibilities of people with disabilities in the tech workspace. Arunima is a design thinker with a keen interest in people, workplace, psychology, and social ventures. She's the director at Equal Genius Foundation. Being an active element and spearhead of the GAAD event in Prakat since 2014, she has quite an understanding of inclusivity and accessibility and strives to shed more light on the domains each year. She's currently working on managing and leading projects in the inclusion space as well as social media strategy. Arunima also co-founded Social Impact Talks, a platform to inform and discuss topics of social relevance, economic concerns, community topics, and health.
Jayashree Ramesh is the director at the Academy for Severe Handicaps and Autism, also called ASHA. The organization, established in 1995, provides education with a comprehensive set of therapies to individuals with autism spectrum disorders. With the goal of rendering exceptional love, care, hope, and educational assistance to children with special needs to help them develop and utilize their potential, ASHA has evolved and developed resources and expertise to address the different needs of over 500 individuals and their families. ASHA involves the child as a part of group sessions to develop social skills alongside additional therapies and activities like speech and language therapy, physiotherapy, technology intervention, dance, music, and yoga. With this introduction, I hand the mic over to Jayashree.
So I'd like to start with Asha. So Asha, can you tell us about how autism affects individuals' ability to work?
Okay, so autism affects an individual's ability to work. I would say it depends on the individual with autism, the level of it, and the job which they're doing. If the job is not suitable for the individual with autism, like for example, if the job has required multitasking customer service, dealing with outside public, then the autism will affect them very deeply and badly. Like they would not know how to handle customers and they would not know how to multitask. If the job is suitable and good, like how I have in my workplace, a quality associate, then the autism will affect them in a good way because they would be able to display commitment, consistency, perfectionism, creativity, and very good attention to detail skills when working in that job.
Okay. And so you mentioned different spectrums of autism. Could you just very briefly just explain that for somebody who may not understand that?
Yeah, so levels autism means there is severe level
Yes.
and there is a borderline, which I am at that level.
Okay. And so moving on, Jayashree, could you tell us a little bit about how your organization, so you work with children with autism, and how does, so this is at an early stage, this is discovered. So if you could tell us a little bit about what your organization does in this space. Jayashree, I'm not able to hear you, you're on mute.
We'd love for all of our students, kids to be like, become like Asha, become independent and be able to work on a corporate or a mainstream employment. To get there, what we have to do is we have to get kids at the very early age. If we get kids between the ages of 2 and 3, and we start a very strong early intervention program and have the parent involved so they understand what to do at home. And like Asha was saying, autism spectrum comes with diverse issues within the spectrum. So if you have to explain to each parent what their child's autism means, it is almost like a one-on-one training that we have to give. But having said that, what we do is we try to cater to these kids at the earliest, and then we run a program for them. We keep the children with us in a full day school programs, like a day school. And each child is different and each child learns very differently. So the responsibility of the professional or the service provider is to understand what is it that this student with autism can do and where are the deficits. And that is how we have to plug in that and bring in those experts to train our children. So within our school, what we do is, one is start early, empower the mother, start with a very intense early intervention program. And in the day school, we teach academic skills for students who are able to pick it up. Like Asha was mentioning, levels. Many of our students are in the moderate capacity. That means they may find it very difficult to be in a mainstream school. Academic program. So for such children, a lot of intervention goes into making them productive in the use of their hands, in trying to learn language, to be very socially adept and communicative with the people around, behave in a way that they are socially acceptable, and get into a good vocational training program. So it's a intense human intervention because we have a ratio of 2 children to an adult, like one teacher will be handling 2 children. So, it's an intense program.
And you mentioned that it's better for it to be detected at an early stage. So in an India context, how does this detection take place? Since before too, usually people are at home, they're not at school yet. So how does this detection take place, and how are families sensitized post that?
Yes, this is a difficult situation, in India. The reason is that, children are when they're born, they go through their vaccinations periodically. But at the time of these vaccinations, the developmental scale or the developmental milestones of children are sometimes not looked into. I would say most of the times it's not looked into. So because the physicians are very busy, the people who are doing the vaccination programs don't have a lot of time to actually sit down and think. So you tend to miss out when a child is not developing, like on par with the other kids. So the other, downside is our children look very, well put together physically. So they are moving around, they are playing, they're running around. May not be very full to us when we see in the broader context, but they're able to do a lot of those skills. So you tend to miss out, that there is a problem. So invariably, when the child goes to a play school, say at 2 or 2.5, that is when, the first time the parent can also be told that, look, there's something wrong with your kid. He's not like the others. He's not sitting, he's not listening, he's not responding to his name, he's not looking at, So the parent probably has an inkling that there could be something wrong, but would not have many times pursued it. But of course, those are who are internet savvy, they look up and then see and then talk to a pediatrician. So the urban situation is a little better. I think as we get, into the rural settings, we are still hoping to find out how easily and how quickly these children are being detected. But it is a challenge to catch these kids early and very young in India.
And in the rural settings, how are the families sensitized if they may not know what autism is prior to this?
Yes. I mean, see, one is that community awareness plays such a big role. Okay, till 2016, I would say even 2017, because end of 2016, the main legislation for persons with disability did not even acknowledge autism as a condition.
Okay.
It's only when the new Rights of Persons with Disability Act came up, autism became, though everybody knew autism is one of the most complex developmental disorders. So once this has become a part of the legislation, now you find that the government is started to speak in the right language. They're starting to talk about it. The hospitals, the doctors are being sensitized. Now, every child gets a card, a unique identification number when you have a disability. So autism has been included in that. Earlier, they used to be just told that is a child with intellectual difficulties. So it is happening. Acceptance by the parent is still a challenge, especially in rural settings, because one, they're very scared. Second thing is they don't know what to do. Where do I go? Where are the special schools in rural settings?
Yes.
And where are the professionals? Who's going to help them? For everything, they have to travel so many kilometers away.
Yes.
It is very difficult economically and also time consuming. And because the literacy rates are also not that great, parents tend to miss out on a whole lot of things. So barriers are there. Slowly, we have to keep making a dent. And once we have more services, automatically people will feel more confident.
Yes. Thank you so much. That really did open up a lot of things about autism, especially at a younger age for people. Asha, you studied in different parts of the world. So I wanted to understand from an education perspective, how did you feel in different parts of the world? Where did you feel more accepted and where were you able to learn more easily? And if you could just share that perspective with us, please.
Yes. So so first I was born in Africa. So that is where I started doing my education. The kids and the staff were very accepting in the school. It was a British private school. So we had a lot of extracurricular activities which were mandatory for students to participate. Like you won't believe, we had a lot of sports, especially swimming. We had fine arts like dance, drama, theater arts, choir, etc. And also other activities like art and running, athletics, etc. Young Farmers Club. So the school was very nice. All my teachers and all the students used to push me to participate. Even though I didn't want to do activities, they made me do it. And they used to include me, even though I had a problem. They used to call me to their birthday parties, events, etc. Race, running in athletics, calling me Asha, you must win first place. And you must do well. So there it was good, but unfortunately the country was not developed in Africa where I stayed. So they couldn't provide autism services and the academics was very difficult. So that was when my parents and I took a decision that we have to go to USA. since that country is developed, and maybe they will be able to help me out for my autism. So after we reached US, I got enrolled in an American public school system. So the staff did a lot of tests, diagnostic paperwork, assessments, etc. And then they gave me the official diagnosis that I have autism spectrum disorder, Asperger's syndrome. And they said to my parents, I mean, nothing to worry, it's only borderline. So the only thing I went through was, but the education with the kids, I was not able to fit in with the kids as I was different. So I went through a load of bullying and teasing and exclusion for the first time.
And post that, did you do your higher education in the US itself?
Yes, I went to a local community college as I was not ready for a university since they were fast paced.
Understood. And so post that, how did you transition to work and building your career? How did you work on that?
So after I went to community college and studied, I graduated with highest honors and hospitals and worked with them. Unfortunately, those jobs were not easy for me to sustain as they required a load of customer interaction and multitasking. But one of my managers observed me on the job and said, I think you have a problem. I think you must switch to IT because you're good with devices, and IT industries don't require customer service. So with my parents' help, they decided to move me to India and asked me to enroll in a software testing institute here in Bangalore, where it was one-on-one session with the instructor. So I obtained 2 certificates for internship and for the theory, completed the course. And with my aunt's help, I reached out to Enable India and I enrolled myself in the Autism at Work training. And I was the only female with 10 boys. So it was nice and fun. And after the training got over, the Enable India staff placed me at SAP Labs India in July of 2015 as a quality associate, which is where I'm still working today.
That's really a really inspiring story to understand how you did all this. Jayashree, coming back to you, I wanted to understand what kind of career should a person in autism consider with the students you've dealt with as well? How do they progress and what careers should they be considering? Hello?
Each skills, she's good with testing, not so good with the people interaction. So you have a kind of a group of people with that particular skill. Some of them can do exceedingly well in a very structured, routine kind of activities. Like it could be just working in the retail outlet where you're doing like stocking. So you go and you pick up and you bring stuff, you stock the shelves. So you know exactly how many packets have to be put out where. So they're very good with spatial orientation. So it's, you know, some of those tasks are very good. Something that's also interaction with the people. Many of them have started careers in music. They have become performers. Maybe the business aspect of it, they may not be able to manage, but you know, there's always a parent or a mentor who's, you know, supporting them in that. But they're able to make it, you know, they're able to make a living out of that. Even in art, many of them are very good in art. The people that we work with have significant challenges, and we train them in block printing. We are hoping that, you know, that will become an employment for them, for which the business has to pick up a little bit. So when we have regular customers and we are able to sell our products, then we'll be able to pay them. But you know, we are working towards that. So these are for students who may not be able to commute independently and manage independently in a work environment, in an open work environment. So at the age of 15 or 16, we start telling the parents it's time now to look at what skills your child has. And the next 6 or 8 years is when you have to invest in training to see what it is. Because many of them, like Asha, can be independent. They can, move around, take the public transport, go to a place, work and come back. So it depends on the skills. But today, there are a lot of opportunities. What we lack are job coaches or job supervisors or people who invest in mapping what is required within the industry or within an organization. If that happens, I think more. So our people are working in IT, they're working at BPOs, they're working in the hospitality sector, they're working in retail. They're also working in small home businesses. Just a parent, somebody is very good at baking. So they're doing a small activity from home and they're able to sustain. So things are very progressive, very progressive.
Really interesting. It's like a diverse fields and industries that a lot of the students have been a part of. And about the block printing, I've seen the quality of the block printing from the organization. It's just very beautiful. It's like, it looks like it's almost screen printed. It's really nicely done.
Thank you.
Asha, I wanted to understand from you, since what should a person keep in mind while working with a colleague who is autistic?
Yeah, so the person who is working with an individual who is autistic, they must not tease, make fun, or hurt their feelings. They must be encouraging, supportive, trustworthy. They must understand the person, and they must be inclusive of them, include them in team meetings, events, outbounds, etc. And they must always be with them at all times.
And from a team's perspective, in your experience, how are your colleagues, how did they integrate in it initially?
Yeah, so in the beginning, once I joined SAP Labs India Private Limited in July 2015, the Enable India staff came and gave a self-advocacy PPT presentation about me and my autism diagnosis to the team and my mentor and manager. So the colleagues were very shocked. They didn't know what was autism. They were hearing about it for the first time. And other colleagues said, I'm very shocked to see that someone like Asha has got autism. She looks very normal. She talks normal, walks normal. It's very shocking. And then after the presentation, they got to know also that Enable India exists, because some of them said, I have family members who are disabled just sitting at home. We didn't know we can also try and bring them to Enable India and get them some training and job. We are very happy that somebody has started that organization. And then after that, the team immediately accepted me and started including me for meetings, events, etc. And even today also, they are providing me support and encouragement, asking me to come up in the company and to reach to a high position in the company.
Wow.
That's really nice to.
Very impressive.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
very impressive.
They've told me that I must become a CEO
Yes,
or managing director in the
definitely.
future.
yeah.
You'll be there.
Awesome to have a woman CEO.
Yes.
So just one last question for Ms. Jayashree. So recently we had the new education policy. So I wanted to understand how this affects children with autism and students with autism, and what they should be aware of in this.
Actually, this is very exciting, the new national education policy, because one thing it clearly also states is that inclusive education is very much a part of the mainstream. So earlier, we never used to hear that language. Now it's, if the policy gets implemented, then it becomes the responsibility of every school to be able to first accept these kids, and having accepted, do what is required. So at the different level, they are looking at changes in the way the curriculum has to be structured, what is the pedagogy going to be, what will be the evaluation methods, And in NEP now, it is not going to be just academic learning. They're saying when students have diverse interests, somebody is interested in sports, somebody is interested in some vocational skills like carpentry or plumbing and or music, yoga. So all of this are now going to be available to the mainstream kids, which is a great thing because, like Asha said, she enjoyed doing all of that, in the very beginning when she was much younger. So this is what our students will require. And then technology, of course, it's going to be a big enabler. One is because NEP is going to have these kids in the mainstream. That means mainstream school teachers will be sensitized. So the school administrators will be sensitized. And then the student population, of course, there will be bullying and, those kind of things which happen even otherwise. But still, there's a lot of opportunity for us to go and create awareness and sensitize the students because they become the biggest support system. So I think it's a very a good piece of legislation and a good way forward, but it also has to be worked out with a lot of caution. Because it's very easy to send a child with autism to a mainstream school, but not give what the child needs. So, the child is just left alone in the class or just sitting in a corner, not learning. That is going to be detrimental. Yeah. But if the people are responsible enough to say, we have taken the student and we will do what is required, I think that's the best thing that can happen. So we have to strive towards that. It's not physically putting the child in a classroom, but making sure all of the accommodations that are required should be available to the student. It's a long way to go, but I guess, if the heart is there, we will find a way to do it. So.
Yes, I think definitely it would be really nice to see, even for like normal schools, if we have everybody around us at an early stage, I don't think later we'll have to learn about this to see how to integrate as well. We'll know how to do that from early on. So it would definitely be very good if the policy comes in place. All right, so before we close, is there anything else you'd like to speak about or any last words on accessibility or on autism that you'd like to share with the audience?
So you want to go first?
Yeah, so I don't know anything about accessibility and what solutions are available to employees at the organization where I work. So I would have to skip the question.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anything on autism that you'd like our audience to know? Or...
Yes, so there's a famous woman with autism. Her name is Dr. Temple Grandin. I met her at an event here in Austin, Texas, at my college. And she also provides very good advice to individuals with autism, whether you're going in the right direction career-wise or college major.
Nice.
So she has written many books and articles like which jobs are correct for people with autism and what activities they should do in the school, etc.
Yes, definitely. I think there's also a movie on Temple Grandin, if I'm not wrong.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Jayashree, anything you'd like to say before we close?
Yeah, I mean, I think whatever walk of life we are at, whatever age we are at, we just have to be sensitive. We have to be sensitive to the fact that there will always be people around us who may be different, but maybe they may excel in something else. It may not be what we are. So we have to stop putting people in the box and say this is what is normal, but allow ourselves to grow a little bit and be able to learn from each other. I think there's a lot that we learn from people on the spectrum, from children who are on the spectrum, and we just have to be open to that. So I feel that if we are, then I think we are going to have a much more harmonious, joyful journey in life.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you, both of you, for being there. I I personally really learned a lot about learning in terms of autism, as well as the possibilities in careers, and especially in a workplace perspective, how autism definitely should be there in every career, and we should definitely progress and make the bring it about more. And thank you so much again. It was really nice speaking to both of you.
Yeah, just I wanted to add some things.
Yes.
Also, when you also work with autistic individuals, they're very interesting.
Yes.
Like at Enable India, we used to have different individuals. We had one boy, we used to call him the cuddly teddy bear. He had a loud voice which could make buildings shake.
Wow.
Yeah, he demonstrated it to another colleague who used to have loud voice. And then all the boys used to do kuchiku to him, touching him on the chin. So like that, it will be fun when you work with individuals with autism.
Yeah, yeah. See,
Yes.
they bring a different flavor. So
Yes.
it's so much more flavorful than
Yes.
just doing the same thing.
And playing with them. You have to play with them and
Yes.
make them get some humor. Like I used to take Cuddly Teddy Bear's pencil, playing, saying thank you, and get him to chase me around the training. Like that.
Nice.
But I used to give it back to him.
Great. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much for having us on this show of yours. It's wonderful to be part of it. And thanks for inviting. And
Thank
let's
you.
hope, the word spreads.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yes. We're so proud of Asha.
Thank you, Jayashree.
Yeah,
It's a
just let it
pleasure
go.
to be in India working with people who understand and support and encourage autism.
Thank you.
Wow, that was a fantastic lineup of speakers, and I learned so many new things from all these people, from the smallest detail to some things which are probably beyond my capability to carry out. But it was wonderful learning from all these speakers. I hope all of you also enjoyed this event equally. I sincerely thank all the speakers who made it possible for us to take this kind of content over to thousands of people across the globe using the GAAD online platform. I thank the creators of the platform, which is a tool called Conflux from Prakat Solutions, which was made available to us for hosting this event. I also thank all the other partners for their support in not only providing us speakers, providing us publicity, and getting people on board this platform to learn and understand what is accessibility. Special thanks goes out to District Governor Fazil Mahmood of the District 3190 of Rotary. Thank you very much for bringing so many Rotarians and Rotary clubs onto this event, which I think will be an eye-opener for many, many people. The Multiple Sclerosis Society of India has supported us, especially with speakers, because this is an area which is very ignored. And a lot of us don't know what multiple sclerosis is all about. And this was a great opportunity for us to learn about that. Thanks to the MSSI for bringing some of their best speakers onto this platform for us today. I also would like to thank specifically the Bangalore Abilities, Rotary Bangalore Abilities. This is a Rotary club running in Bangalore, which is only designed for people with special needs. So this club has been doing exceptional work. And earlier today, I was also at an event which they hosted on GAAD with an educational institution, just to get the awareness going, which they're going to be running in every month going forward. Thank you very much for being with us. I look forward to all your feedback online and probably you can drop emails to us. Let us know if you would like to join us in some of these ongoing events which we have over the year. Also, let us know if you would like to speak at next year's event. Thank you very much for being with us. Have a fantastic rest of the day, whichever part of the world you are in. Thank you from GAADonline.org, Equal Genius Foundation, Prakat Solutions, and Mitrajyoti, and all our partners who supported in making this a fantastic event. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.